American university students swim in a sea of official-style prose. No wonder, then, that they begin to imitate it. Here is an example of this imitation, an undergraduate not so much making mistakes as trying to imitate the grown-ups. Look at sentence length for a start. Let me run 4 consecutive sentences of this student's paper by you now. It's a good idea when you are trying to see whether you are varying your sentence length to do a bar graph. Here, all too much of one length and all too long. Or you can check length another way. Make up a sheet of numbers, Xerox a bunch of these, and you can check a page in a few seconds. It's very good self-training. Now for the first sentence in detail. This student is not making a mistake. He or she is imitating the official style. Look at the prepositional phrases. And notice how the infinitive sign, the to, into comment, joins the fun. We'll do a quick revision. We don't need William's poem because it is given by the assignment. So we have this. I'll make the rest of the changes without comment. Ask yourself why they've been made. Sounds funny, huh? The "and his influence" seems tacked on. How about this? Original again. A lard factor of 71%. Typical of the verbal diarrhea the official style precipitates in the beginning writer. Let's do one more here. First, the mindless fizzled rocket opening. Then, quick surgical rearrangement. When you've gotten here, you've peeled the onion until there is nothing left. This often happens. Revision reveals at last, as here, a banal truism. After you've gotten here by steps of careful revision, and not before, you're entitled to take the last step. Back to the drafting board for some real ideas. Sometimes revising the student official style is absurdly easy. "13 words instead of 28. Lard factor, 53%. We can now see why students take so fondly to the official style. It works through verbal formulas, generates a lot of words, makes a little thought go a long way. But just because it does work through formulas, it is easy to revise. Not always so dead easy as here, but anyone can do it. The paramedic method, a revision formula for formulaic prose, works fine. Let's close this TV revision exercise with 2 examples of what the official style does to the personality and voice of the students who use it. In the first example, a student tells us about being a counselor at a summer camp. 12-year-old boys like to fight. Fair enough, plain sense about 12-year-old boys. But then he starts to metamorphose into an official. He wants to say, often I had to stop them, but it comes out, consequently on several occasions I explained to them the negative aspects of fighting. He had to keep them out of the rain, too, and the local creek as well, but when he tells us about it, it comes out sounding like a government job description. Other responsibilities included keeping them dry when near the creek or at times of rain. And by now, of course, a government official is just what he has become. An official would never blurt out something as direct as, I had to keep my temper. Instead, almost like a junior magistrate, he intones, another responsibility was remaining patient with the children. All he needs now is an attaché case, a date stamp, and a staple remover, and he can start serving his 40-year stint at the desk. It's scary seeing a young personality being swallowed up by the wet cardboard formation of a bland impersonality. And here, in a final instance, is a prose personality that has been dressed in official uniform almost from the cradle. The assignment in an English 1 class at UCLA was simple, a one-page essay describing how people change their behavior in different social situations. The student begins, under stressful situations, the true, deep-rooted characteristics of an individual's psychological framework will become apparent to those around him. No insuperable problems in melting down this lard, under stressful situations, becomes under stress. And the true, deep-rooted characteristics of an individual's psychological framework boils down to a person's real character. As for will become apparent to those around him, a plain, old-fashioned verb will do it all. How about emerges, say, or appears? So the revision has shrunk to, under stress, a person's real character emerges. 7 words instead of 20, a lard factor of 65%. We followed the paramedic method and 1, reduced the prepositions from 4 to 1, 2, found the is form in the original, 3, found out who's kicking who by collapsing true, deep-rooted characteristics of an individual's psychological framework to a person's real character, and 4, coupled this subject with a simple active verb. All this surgery has, 5, gotten us off to a fast start, first of all, and 2, the sentence invites the emphasis of a human voice. Under stress, a person's real character emerges. A student brought up to write prose like this goop has been deprived of his linguistic birthright, the power and beauty of the English language, and a chance as a new and still forming self to train his personality with and around that power and beauty. And he has also been encouraged to make conceptual thought not a matter of everyday efficiency, but a head-scratching puzzle that hides the ball not only from the other player, but from the writer himself. And most of all, he has learned how to present himself in public as a pretentious windbag. Here is sentence number 2 of this paper. After the instigating incident has expired, the individual in question may realize the consequences of his recent mode of behavior. I'm not sure exactly what this means, but tying it to the previous revision, we might come up with something like this. It's not the lard factor of 60% that stands at issue here, but the presentation of self. You may want to sound like a pompous stuffed shirt when you're 60, but at 18? Don't do it. Life is too short. Or perhaps, like a good official stylist, I should say, life is too limited in length. Don't be bureaucratized before your time. Revising official prose is hard work, but with the paramedic method, anyone can do it. If you want to give it a try, perhaps this television sketch, by showing you a few tricks of the eye and ear which concentrate the mind, will encourage you to begin.